My name is Arvind Viegas, a hospitality professional in India for the last 20 years. Currently with Spice Lounge India, master developers for Buffalo Wild Wings in India. And I've been with them for the last year and a little bit more than a year and a half as the business development officer. Spice Lounge, as I mentioned earlier, is the master franchisor, and the directors were based in the US earlier, and they were exposed to Buffalo Wild Wings in the US. Buffalo Wild Wings as a brand is a very large it's a global sports bar brand, and it is the number one sports bar chain in the world right now, and earlier as well. And when they were exposed to the brand in the US, they saw that this brand has the potential to come to India, primarily because India was also moving towards the sporting culture. We had the IPL coming in at that time. We had the badminton league coming in that time, the hockey league, the soccer league, the kabaddi league. So in 2017, we secured the master development contract for India, and we brought Buffalo Wild Wings in India. We're actually sitting in the flagship outlet in Hyderabad, Jubilee Hills, where the brand launched in India. We had to amalgamate these two palettes and build something that was there in India, that was required in India. So we successfully managed to do that with a lot of uniqueness that is there in the menu in India versus the global menu. So the Indian menu is has a lot more personal touch to it, has a lot more local flavors, inceptions. Also, the eating habits of an Indian consumer versus the eating habits of the global consumer have variances. So we've tried to cater amalgamating the Indian eating habits into the brand, and until now we've successfully managed to do that. So we've stayed true to the global positioning, which is we're a sports bar chain. It's a nice neighborhood space to come and watch a good sporting event or any sporting event that you are following. So we've stayed true to that, as well as that we've stayed true to the fact that as you see around you, right? We've got you could choose any seat in the house. Let's call it the stadium, right? We sort of call it a stadium. You choose any seat in the stadium. You do not have to strain your neck to get a view of what's happening in the match as you're eating or as you're having a conversation. So the place is built as such that I could have a conversation with the partner whom I'm having the evening with, or the partners who are joining me, but I can also have one eye on the match. So we could also have a conversation which is off the match. We could also have a conversation which is regards to the match. The brand, as the name suggests, right? Buffalo Wild Wings. Buffalo is a place in the US. So when the brand started, the first outlet was in Buffalo. So they kept it as that. But Buffalo has a different meaning in India. Not meaning, but there's a different connection it gets associated with a different point. So when we brought the brand to India, we felt that there would be a little bit of resistance towards acceptance based on the name. So initially, for the first year, we did not name it as Buffalo Wild Wings. We called it BWs. We put a lot of effort in marketing. We put a lot of effort in educating the customer that we're not about meat per se. We're about chicken. We're about vegetarian. To break that misconception, we spent about a good 1 year, spent a lot of effort in marketing. And then over a period of a year, when we realized that the acceptability had come in, the awareness had grown within the customer or the client, is where we then rebranded it as Buffalo Wild Wings. So now it's all Buffalo Wild Wings. So if you were to look at pre-COVID, there were pretty defined trends of what was happening to the industry. So there was a sort of not a rule book, but there was sort of a framework that you could probably follow, and then you knew that this is what was going to be the outcome of it. Post-COVID, it's all shifted back down to zero. So it's been a restart, a reboot. So now it's like for the last 1 year or maybe a year and a half since everything has opened up and people are coming back out again, the consumption of the consumer to the F&B industry, or the interaction of the consumer with the F&B industry, has changed from what it was pre-COVID. So it's very difficult right now to say and pinpoint saying, okay, this is what is going to happen, or that is what is going to happen. But you can see trends that are emerging. The trends are the consumer has moved towards deliveries a lot more than going out and eating. There could be variable factors for that, but that's the trends that is emerging. The role of technology, thankfully, has stayed significant pre-COVID and significant post-COVID as well. See, in the earlier days, you had a lot of bookkeeping, you had a lot of receipts, vouchers, all these kind of things happening. Technology came in and sort of minimized that. It brought efficiency into the system. It brought data available at your fingertips, right? Or you had to wait for, if you ask for, in the earlier days, you asked for data today, you would have probably got it a week later, because somebody had to process it, digest it, and then analyze it, and then put it into a format and bring it out to you. So technology has reduced that time frame from a week to instantaneous. So that's the huge benefit for us as decision makers, because when you have data at your fingertips, it helps you analyze faster. It helps you take very constructive and calculated decisions. So that's a huge boon for us from the industry perspective with technology. We've moved from the earlier system where you definitely had to have, your labor costs were higher because you had to have, I'm just using an example, you had to have one dedicated cashier per shift to ensure that cash outs are done. Now you don't need to have that principle, and you could have multiple cashiers. As long as they log in through their own ID and then do the cash outs from their own ID, you can track the transactions. Since Spice Launch, we have multiple outlets of Buffalo Wild Wings as a brand. I'm able to access individual outlet-wise reports, going up to city-wise, and then going up to an organization-wise instantaneously. So that's a huge benefit for me from a decision-making perspective. From a control perspective as well, the same thing flows down in the other aspects. Because technology has, and POSIS per se, when we evaluated this software, it had checks and balances at every level, which is very important for us as senior managers, right? Because the only way we are able to sleep easy is if I know that there are checks and balances at the outlet, which I do not need to supervise on every minute, every day kind of a scale. So since those checks and balances are available, it becomes very easier for us. Even if there is a mishap that takes place, we are able to identify it very accurately. Where did the mistake take place, or where did the mishap take place, and then subsequently implement a rectification action that is required there. So that's how POSIS has been really helpful to us. So Spice Lounge as an organization, we are going to be expanding Buffalo Wild Wings, obviously, because it's the primary brand that we have in India right now. We're going to go to the southern tip of the peninsula of India. So we've got markets identified, such as states identified as Karnataka. We still have to go to Andhra. Karnataka, few more, although we have in Bangalore. We have Andhra, we have Tamil Nadu, we have Kerala, we have Goa. So these are the states that we're going to be looking at expansion in the next physical. And as an organization, in fact, in the back end, as a process, right? Like I was mentioning earlier. So we were looking at technology to help us take our business to the next level. So where Restroworks has added value to us. So we've finalized our own homegrown brand. We've built an in-house brand for us, which is we're going to take across again towards South India, which is going to be an aspirational city brand. So now we have associated ourselves with a lot of schools in Hyderabad, where we are promoting, or we are associated with them for the basketball leagues that they are having within the schools, like inter-school matches. So we as from our perspective, not not as a CSR, but building that sporting culture, being the number one sports bar chain in the world, and we want to build that sports culture in India. Is we are associating with the sports which do not get the limelight.